Welcome to another Super Deluxe Edition unboxing video. Today we're going to take a look at Blondie Against the Odds, 1974 to 1982. So this was announced way back in 2018, as some of you may remember, and after multiple delays it's going to be released on the 26th of August this year. So what I've got in front of me is the 10 LP vinyl edition. So this is the sort of top of the range £275 version. There's 3 other physical editions. There's an 8 CD edition. There's a 3 CD edition which just has all the rarities, and then there's a 4 LP vinyl set which again is rarities only. So we're going to take a look at all 4 physical editions. There's some nuances. It's not quite as straightforward as you might think, but we'll take a look at all of that. The first thing I wanted to show you was the outer box that this vinyl Super Deluxe comes in, because it's got a bit of bespoke packaging which is rather groovy. So let's take a look at that. Yeah, so this is the outer box. This is a bespoke outer box it gets designed in, so it's got artwork on it. Fragile, handle with care, you might expect that. There's a little label here that tells the retailer that please don't take the box out of this box and put it in your own box, because that would be a bit of a disaster packing wise. As long as they keep it in here, everything should be okay. But well, the main thing to mention is there's this really cool Debbie Harry portrait which is on the inside flap of this big box, you see. So that's really nice attention to detail when you open it up. It's a bit of wow factor. And then the box itself is very well protected inside this big foam inner. So I think as long as it's in here you'll be okay and your box set shouldn't get damaged. The only problem with this is what you do with the thing, because cool though it is, the box itself is already big enough. Do you actually want to keep this massive outer box? Anyway, so this is the box itself. So there it is, that's the top looking down. It weighs an absolute ton. All these boxes, apart from the small CD box which has a belly band, they all have these backing sheets that kind of come over the top and hang over the front. They're quite nice again because they've got artwork inside them. So as you can see, they're a bit of a sort of contact sheet printed here with the title of the box set. So that's the inside of the spec sheet. And then on the outside it tells you what's going on inside this box set. So it's the 6 studio albums, 4 bonus LPs, there's a 10-inch, a 7-inch, and there's 2 books in this edition. So we're going to take a look at all of that. I mean, first impressions is they've done a spectacularly good job on the presentation, because everything's printed on this sort of mirror board, and on top of that you've got this spot varnishing of Debbie Harry there as well. So it really is very sort of luxurious presentation. It looks fantastic, you know, it's very, very weighty. That's Numero Group there, who worked on this box in conjunction with Universal. I mean, it feels like a quality product straight away. So this is a lift-off lid box. This is gently prise the box up. Here we go. Very thick cards. That's the lid of the box. Now then, they hit you straight away with the 4 bonus LPs on top. So it doesn't start with the studio album, it actually starts with the bonus albums. This is called Blondie. It's obviously done in the style of a Coca-Cola can. The original working title for Auto American was Coca-Cola, which I think is what this is about. So this offers a selection of rarities. There's 5 tracks on the A side and 3 tracks on the B side, and it contains things like a demo of The Tide Is High, a disco version of Rapture, Yuletide Throwdown, the non-album single featuring Fab Five Freddy, a couple of Giorgio Moroder demos, etc. This looks amazing, you know. Again, they've printed it on the mirror board kind of card. And all the sleeves on the vinyl records are very thick, you know, they're quite high quality. So that's consistent throughout. Really, really impressed with that. And then the inner sleeve, it's a sort of picture inner sleeve. It's got the 6 studio albums, the best of, and then various picture sleeves from the singles. This is the black vinyl edition. There is a red vinyl limited edition. You can see nice detailing there on the on the label on the vinyl. So there's 4 of these bonus albums. That's a very nice thing to have at the top there. It really kind of hits you, the quality, the colours, printing, the design. Excellent start, I think, to the box set. So next up we have another specially compiled bonus material album called Parallel Beats. Very nice picture of Debbie Harry on the back. So this is 11 tracks, features rarities like the French version of Sunday Girl, Mike Chapman demo of Once I Had a Love, Hanging on the Telephone demo, Union City Blue instrumental, various things. So there's 11 tracks on here. Again, very, very thick card, feels quality. The only slight disappointment with this is they just repeat the same inner sleeve. You'd think maybe they would have done something a little bit different. The label design's different because that obviously reflects the design of the outer sleeve. So I think rather than just repeat the same design, they could have just put it in a black polylined sleeve. So that's Parallel Beats. That's the second of the 4 bonus albums. This is good. So this is Plaza Sound. So this is nice because it's printed on sort of uncoated stock. We've got a sticker here for the track listing. So it's all very much in the style of sort of, demos and master tapes, etc. This is a 15 track selection actually. There's early private stock versions of early tracks, private stock with the label they're on for the first album before they went to Chrysalis. There's a Terry Ellis mix of Denis. What else have we got here? In the Flesh, different versions, Ex-Offender. So again, black vinyl, same sleeve. Now I think this sort of slightly shiny inner sleeve doesn't really go with the outer. So again, I'd sort of question just repeating this. But like the other record, you've got a bespoke design on the label, which is great. And then finally, you've got this Home Tapes album. So on vinyl, this is exclusive to this 10 LP box set. Slightly confusing, but as we'll see when we get to the 4 LP version, it doesn't actually have this Home Tapes album in this form. All will be revealed later. This has got some Chris Stein mixes of Call Me, Heart of Glass, some home tape versions of Sunday Girl, Ring of Fire, various things. Great cover, I have to say. Really, really good cover. Look at the state of that room, Jesus. But yeah, again, same sort of inner sleeve with exactly the same pattern as the other 3. But yeah, really, really like the design, and again, it's a very glossy, very thick card cover. So that's sort of stage 1 of this big vinyl box set. So the next stage are the 6 studio albums. So this is the first record from 1976, Blondie. As I said earlier, this actually came out on private stock originally. That Chrysalis ended up re-releasing it because they signed with Chrysalis for the second album. So this contains In the Flesh, which was a bit of a hit in Australia. Again, slight disappointment. I mean, there's so much lavish detail on the outside, but the budget doesn't stretch to a polylined sleeve, which is kind of crazy, to be honest. But yeah, original Chrysalis labels replicated. And as with the bonus albums, it's a very thick, high quality sleeve, quite glossy. So Plastic Letters was the second album. As I say, they were signed to Chrysalis by this stage. This came out in early 78. In fact, I think there was a Japanese version, late 77. But yeah, so this has got what we've got in here. So Denis, is a big hit. I'm Always Touched by Your Presence, Dear. This is the same situation as the previous record. It's got this unpolylined inner sleeve, Chrysalis label. Now then, Parallel Lines, many people's favourite Blondie album. This was 78 as well. This came out, I think it was September 78 this came out. Full of hit singles, Hanging on the Telephone, Sunday Girl, Heart of Glass, etc. Brilliant front cover photo. Although they were apparently all upset because they're grinning and she isn't, and that was never the plan. This hasn't got the plain inner sleeve, it's got a printed inner with lyrics. Same kind of Chrysalis label. All these records are just the album, there's no bonus tracks on any of the vinyl, they're just the album. So Eat to the Beat, this was from 1979, great front cover. The success continues, this album's got Dreaming on it, Union City Blue, Atomic. This is another one where it's got a printed inner sleeve, as before, Chrysalis label. I'm trying to rattle through this reasonably quickly because there's quite a lot of box sets to get through. So Auto American, this is when they went out to LA to record this, I think, but the cover photo is still New York. So this features Tide is High, Rapture, great record, still a bit different for them. Printed inner sleeve, there's the vinyl. And then finally, this was 1982, The Hunter. This is the album where it all kind of went pear-shaped and everything fell apart a little bit. Not really any big hit singles off of this. I think Island of Lost Souls got to like number 11 or something in the UK, but yeah, printed in a sleeve, lyrics, and same kind of consistent chrysalis blue and white vinyl label. So they're the 6 vinyl records, 6 studio albums. We've had the 4, so that's the 10 records we've got through at the moment, 10 vinyl records, but that's really stage 1 of this box set. Right, so this is the second part of this box set. So we put the ribbon to one side and we've got 10-inch single here, and we've got 2 books that sit underneath it, so we're going to have a look at those. So this 10-inch single was called Out in the Streets, and it's kind of early demos basically. Printed on uncoated stock, very nice cover design. Inner sleeve, not poly-lined. So this is a 10-inch single. So these tracks that are on this single and all the tracks that are on the 4 bonus LPs, they're all in the 8 CD box set. So this isn't something exclusive, you do get it in the CD version. And we'll talk about how it pans out on the 4 LP version in a minute. But that's a nice little sort of bonus item for this particular box set. So now then, this is the only box where you get 2 books. Now this book here is the main book. This book is repeated in various forms across the 4 box sets. That's the 10 LP, the 4 LP, the 8 CD and the 3 CD version. This is the book that has text in it, tells you the story. This is a bit like the McCartney books in the McCartney box sets. This is fantastic, this book. I've already had a flick through it. But everything about it I really like. The design is great. Obviously loads of good photos. Goes through all the early years. And there's lots of annotation with band members talking about individual songs. Of course, that's fascinating, that element of it. And I think this book's about 140 odd pages, so it just goes on and on. There's a lot of content to digest. It goes through album by album, setting the scene, what was going on, and yeah, it's just really, really good. Lots of great photos. So that's kind of what you're looking at with this book. This is a hardback book, printed on the sort of silver reflective material. Yeah, and this book is worth remembering. This book is about a 10-inch by 10-inch book. It's the same size as, it has to be the same size as the 10-inch that sits on top of it. So that's interesting to remember that, because it's slightly different when we look at the other boxes. And now, totally exclusive to this 10 LP vinyl box set is this discography book. So I was wondering where the 7-inch single was, and the answer is it's tucked away in this book. It took me a while to work out what was going on here, but this is like a vertical belly band, so that comes off, and then you can actually open the book when you take that away. But the 7-inch single kind of slides into the front of this book. So the 7-inch single has the cover of Moonlight Drive, which was released when they announced the box set, the Doors song. And on the B side is Mr. Sightseer, which is another early demo. So that's sort of how that 7-inch single works. It's there. But this book itself is really, really good. I mean, the amount of effort that must have gone into this. It just goes through all the albums and all the singles, and it really is a detailed discography. It tells you all the foreign pressings and all the, Japanese, Australia, France, Canada, Germany. It's got all the cat numbers and what was the A side, what was the B side, cassettes, etc. So this is really a nice thing to have, but you have to buy the £275 vinyl box to get it, because none of this content exists in any other box. So that's something you have to remember. But yeah, I mean, I'll just flick through the rest of it. Really, really interesting book to have. So that is the second book that comes with this vinyl box set. So now if I lift this up, you can see they're the sort of different elements. So the small book goes there, the big book and the 10-inch goes there, and then the big vinyl records go at the top. So it's a sort of 3-stage box. There's the back of the box if I haven't shown you that before. Pretty well constructed, pretty well designed, and very, very good content. So if we just put all this back, it'll remind you what's going on. So that's the sort of 7-inch book with the 7-inch that slots in the bottom. This is the 10-inch second book, which goes on top of that, and then the 10-inch vinyl goes there. This goes over the top. So the 6 studio albums slot into place there. And then finally the 4 bonus albums with the extra tracks go on the top, ending with Blondie. The lid goes on, and there we have it. That's box set number 1. That's the 10 LP version of Against the Odds. So now let's have a look at the 4 LP version to see what the differences are in terms of the content of the bonus LPs. Okay, so here is the 4 LP bonus track version of Against the Odds. So this is £100, this box set. You don't get 10 LPs and a 10-inch and a 7-inch, you just get 4 LPs, but you do get the book, and the packaging is very similar, as you can see. And the difference is this isn't a lift-off lid box set, it's a slipcase type of a box. I mean, the printing and the design and the quality is identical, but you don't lift up off a lid, you just pull out the contents from the side. It has the same kind of backing sheet. With the big box it wasn't actually stuck to it, it was just sealed in. With this box it had the glue, so you have to make sure you take the glue off, otherwise it might ruin your box set. So everything slides out. So let's look at this book first. Now, one of the things I wanted to point out about this book is it's actually bigger than the book in the 10LP vinyl box. It took me a while to get my head around that, but it's all to do with the design, you see. To make the book fit, they've made it 10 inches in the big box. They didn't have to do that with this box because it's just a kind of slipcase type of a box. So rather sort of bizarrely, the cheaper box has the bigger book. So by way of comparison, there is the book from the 10LP box set, and there's the book from the 4LP. So you can see it's quite a bit smaller, but it's obviously thicker because you've got smaller pages and more content. So if you actually put them up against each other, that one there is the big box, that's slightly thicker. Anyway, that might be irrelevant to most people, I don't know, but I thought it was definitely worth pointing out. The content is basically the same, so I don't think you need to worry about, missing anything, but it's slightly bigger, so it does, certain spreads just look better big, so only a little bit bigger, but it can make a bit of a difference. So it's the same kind of design, same content really, same photos, things like that looks pretty cool. Yeah, it is quite nice, big, that's the thing. Bigger is, for books, especially for photography and all the rest of it, is generally better. So you could argue that this book has a slight edge over the book in the big £275 box set. It's an interesting observation. But it's still a great book. They're both great books. So what else do you get in the 4LP version? Well, obviously you get the 4 LPs. So the Blondie one is identical. Same printing, same quality, same content, and the same inner sleeve as before. That's straightforward. Parallel Beats is also identical. Same great photo of Debbie Harry, same thick card sleeve, same inner sleeve with those pictures on it. No difference. Plaza Sound, this looks the same, doesn't it? Same cover, same sticker, same back to it, same inner sleeve. However, it's not the same. Now the reason this isn't the same, this is a little bit of detail, the reason this isn't the same is because they've had to add Moonlight Drive to it. Well, they haven't had to, but they've chosen to add the cover of Moonlight Drive onto the Plaza Sound album in the 4LP box set. Now remember, Moonlight Drive is on the 7-inch in the vinyl box, and the B-side is Sightseer. So Moonlight Drive is on here at number 2. It's still a 7-track B-side. If we look back, this is the version that's in the 10 LP box set. So that you see number 2 is Bermuda Triangle. So there is no Moonlight Drive on this one. That doesn't need to be on here because they've got the 7-inch. But it's still 7 tracks. So I was thinking, well, what's the difference? And the difference is the version in the 4 LP box set doesn't have Kidnapper Take 2 on it, track 5. It's basically just missing. So if you buy the 4 LP box set, you're not getting all the rarities. There's a few things that are missing, and one of them is Kidnapper Take 2. So that's a very subtle difference that no one's really mentioned, but I've noticed. So that's something to think about. You know, not everything's identical, even though it might appear to be identical. And then the other big difference with the 4 LP box set is you don't get the home tapes vinyl. So if you remember, this is the 4th LP in the 10 LP box set, but the 4th LP in the 4 LP box set is this, Out in the Streets. Now, Out in the Streets was a 10-inch in the 10 LP box set, but now we've got a 12-inch version in the 4 LP box set. So what's going on there? Right, to answer that question, here is the 10-inch from the 10 LP box set. Okay, so let's compare and contrast. This is the 10-inch from the 10 LP box set. This is the 12-inch from the 4 LP. In the 10 LP box set, this contains 8 tracks. Out in the Streets, Disco Song, Sexy Ida, Platinum Blonde, Thin Line, Puerto Rico, Once I Had a Love, and Out in the Streets. So on the 12-inch, you get 7 of the 8 tracks on side A. So the one that's missing is Once I Had a Love. And then you get this B-side, which is a selection of things from the Home Tapes album, but it's not everything. There are things missing from there as well. So it's quite confusing. Remember, this Home Tapes album isn't in the 4 LP box set. So let's do a compare and contrast with this then. So Mr. Sightseer is the B-side to the 7-inch single in the 10 LP box set. So that's made an appearance here. Don't forget the A-side of this, Moonlight Drive, found its way onto here. So the B-side is now on here. And then the rest of these tracks are taken from this Home Tapes album, but not all of them. You get Nameless from here, you get Sunday Girl from here, you get the theme from Hardest Part, Ring of Fire. So basically, side A of this is all repeated here. But the War Child Christine mix, Call Me Christine mix, Heart of Glass Christine mix, which all sound quite good, they're not part of this particular selection, so they're missing from the 4 LP box set. So those 3 are missing. So is Once I Had a Love from here. So there's a number of tracks that aren't on in the 4 LP box set. Basically, you don't get everything because the 10 LP box set has a 7-inch and a 10-inch. They haven't really found a way to replicate everything across 4 records, so they've had to leave a few things off, and what they've left off is some of the Home Tapes and one of the songs from Out in the Streets 10-inch, which hasn't made onto here. Confused You Will Be. This has the same kind of inner sleeve. Again, this doesn't work for me because it's a very cool photo stat, kind of uncoated stock, and then you pull out this shiny kind of, it doesn't work. But the label's good. The labels, but this is just like the 10-inch actually. The label and the outer sleeve match. The inner sleeve feels like it's just been flown in. So that is the 4th album in the 4 LP box set. So this is the 4 LP box set is the only place you can get Out in the Streets configured like this. But the 10 LP box is the only place to get the big Home Tapes album like that. So that's it from the 4 LP box set. So these records just slot back in. It's quite straightforward really. And the book slots in. I mean, if you own all the albums already, one of the great things about this campaign, and you have to give credit where it's due, is that they've made the bonus material available without the album. So if you own all the albums already, maybe you had that box set from whenever it was, 2014, 2015. You don't want to buy them again, you don't need them again, then this is the box set for you. Yep, it's missing 4 or 5 tracks, something like that, but it's not the end of the world. I think it's got most stuff on here. So, and it's £100, not £275. Now then, here's another very familiar looking box. This is the 8 CD version of Against the Odds. Looks identical to the other boxes. It's got the same kind of backing sheet. Again, it's glued to the box set. And this is the simplest so far, actually. Again, it's a slipcase type of design. But because this is a CD box set, it's just a book effectively, because the CDs are in here. And the book is the same as the book, or similar to the book in the 4LP set. In other words, it's a big book. Yeah, it's the same size as the other book. That's the book from the 4LP set. So everything's the same printing, same spot varnishing. Looks very cool. But as you will expect, this book has space for CDs. So it has the 6 studio albums, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then it has 2 bonus CDs, home tapes and Out in the Streets, which is a bit confusing because there's 4 bonus LPs, there's 3 CDs in the 3 CD version, which we'll look at in a second. Let's just explain that and get it out of the way. So the Out in the Streets here is the 8-track version, which is identical to the 10-inch in the 10LP vinyl box set. It's not the same as the 12-inch version in the 4LP box set. This is crazy, really. But yeah, so the CDs are all thin card sleeves. There's the actual design for the CD, which I don't think is as groovy as the design for the label on the vinyl. And these slot in here. Let's go to the Home Tapes one. So the Home Tapes album, this is the only other place to get the Home Tapes album, because remember, it's not in the 4LP version. This is the same as the 12-inch Home Tapes album in the 10LP box set. Same good photo. Again, not sure about the CD design, but it's good that these CDs are in sleeves, but I guess they have to be quite thin to fit into the design. But the problem with big CD box sets with CDs like this is it always feels a little bit budget, these very thin sleeves, but I can understand the limitations of the format. So yeah, so that's how that works. They're the 2 bonus tracks. So 8-track Out in the Streets, and it's, what's this, a 9-track Home Tapes. If that's 8-track and 9 tracks, there's 52 bonus tracks, don't forget, in the 10LP version. So where are the rest of the bonus tracks? Well, the answer is they're all appended to the albums, which is sort of unusual, but in a way not ideal. But I can see why they've done it, because it's hard to get an extra CD, physically in this space. They've got 4 in each page here, which is quite a lot to start off with. There is no way to get a 5th CD, and it probably means a lot of faffing around or doing something quite complicated. So the extra tracks are all on the end of the albums. Obviously it's all relevant to the era. So there's Blondie. It doesn't actually, when it lists the bonus stuff here, it doesn't sort of section it off and say this is bonus material, which is surprising. But you can see here, look, the private stock versions, I don't know if you can see, but everything's there. So I'm not really too sure about these CD designs, but anyway, that's Blondie. Plastic letters, same kind of thing. You've got all these extra tracks here. I'm not going to get every single CD out, but parallel lines. Again, here's all the extra stuff here at the end. Eat to the Beat. There's not that many extra tracks in here, but there's a few. Auto American, yeah, they're all listed there. And then the Hunter, there at the bottom there. Things like Yuletide Throwdown. So they are the 8 CDs. You can see them quite clearly there. And then in the middle, what you get is basically the same book as in the 4LP version. This will be quite familiar by now, but I'm not going to go into it in a lot of detail. But same kind of spread, same images. I mean, I think this is actually identical to the 4LP book. So this is, I think this is £90, £85, £90. It's the cheapest way to get all the audio and the book, basically. This is a sort of £90 equivalent of the £275 box set. You get all the same audio, you just don't get the second book, and everything's on CD, not vinyl. But the outer box is still really nice. This is actually I actually think this is pretty good value, this particular package. So that goes back in there, slots away. So that is the 8 CD version of Against the Odds. Now surely there can't be any more versions. Give us a break, Paul, I'm hearing you say. Well, there is one more version left, and it's the 3 CD edition. This has got a belly band on it. I think this is supposed to stay at the bottom like that. But yeah, I mean, this is little, but they've still given it the dog's bollocks kind of quality treatments. You still get the spot varnish, you still get the mirror board, slipcase, and then this is like a case bound book, very thick case bound book that slips out, and then you get 3 CDs basically. So there's CD 1. So these are all the rarities. So it's all, I think it's all 52 tracks. Well, it is all 52 tracks across 3 CDs. So these same 52 tracks have been all over the place so far. They've been on 4 bonus vinyl LPs, they've been on 7-inch, 10-inch, they've been on sort of reconfigured 4 LPs for the 4 LP vinyl box. So for example, if we think of that Coca-Cola album from the 10 LP vinyl box set, they're all on the beginning of CD 3. So these tracks here, that's from the Coca-Cola album. Parallel Beats is all at the end of CD 2. So the Plaza Sound album, which is the sort of the brown cardboardy one, that's all at the end of CD 1. And then Home Tapes is at the end of CD 3. So, you know, Mr. Sightseer, Sunday Girl, etc. That's all at the end of CD 3. Everything else is all the bonus material at the end of the albums on the 8 CD version. It just fills everything out. Basically everything is on here. It's just like dotted around all over the place. And then you get a kind of mini version of that book. I think they've done a really good job with this. I mean, yeah, it's smaller, but this is, I think this is £40, this 3 CD set. So they've done well to get everything on 3 CDs. This is basically the cheapest available format of Against the Odds. So again, if you own all the albums already, you've got them on the CD, you've got the old remasters, whatever, you don't really feel the need to spend £90 on the big one, then you may as well get this one, which is 40. Although I have to say, the big one is so nice and the book's so good at that large 12-inch size. I think for £90, the big one is arguably the best value. Nice though this 3 CD version is. That slots nicely back in there. If you want to keep the belly band on, I don't think it's too difficult to get it back on. So that's the 3 CD and the final physical edition of Against the Odds. So I hope you've enjoyed this overview of the 4 physical editions. Sorry it got a bit complicated. If you're not sure what's going on, feel free to leave a message in the comments. If you have enjoyed this unboxing video, why not subscribe to the SDE YouTube channel for more great physical music unboxed. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.